and a radical. Sorry for the delay. There was some technical difficulties, but I'm back. Anyway, only ions will be detected by the mass spectrum, so show up on the spectrum, while radicals are not detected. So these radicals are not detected by the mass spectrum, or are not shown on the mass spectrum. So even why this is important is that even if two different compounds which contain the same atoms, such as propanol and propanol, having the same MR, they will have the same M plus peak, but they will have different fragments to each other, such as propanol having a C2H5 peak, fragment peak, while propanol won't. So what I'm showing here is an example of a mass spectrum. This is the mass spectrum of ethanol. And from what we can see that there's a CH3 plus peak at 15, because CH3 has an MR of 15, a C2H5 plus peak at 29 because it has the MR of 29, and an M plus peak and an M plus peak at 26 because ethanol has an overall MR of 46. So this is the MZ value. The MZ value basically equals the MR. Why all of them have a plus is because all of them must have a plus. When writing the exam, you need to add the positive sign because it's not molecules that are being detected here. It is ions. The M plus 1 peak is shown here because of carbon 13 isotopes. And so it would be only slightly be a bit. It will only be like a dot of the M plus 1 peak. So in order to simplify all this, I will use examples such as words. Let's say I have two words, team and meat. Both of these words have the same letters, but meat can form fragments such as ME and AT. Don't forget the positive signs, plus ions, while team cannot form these ions. They can only form TE or AM plus ions. So at the end of the mass spectrum, they would both have an M plus peak of, let's say, team, but the fragment region would be much different between the two. And so we can identify different molecules with the same MR through this way. So the key points are, it is important to add the positive sign in the exam. And the M plus peak, so the M plus peak is basically the same as the MR. Always put the positive sign for the ion, and we call the fragment region, which is this region over here, before the M plus peak, the fingerprint region. And the tiny other peaks are also caused by different fragments. So really the key thing that you need to know is that the M plus peak is the MR, is literally the MR. And don't get this confused with the M plus 1 peak. So good luck in the exams, and yeah, catch you later.